Welcome on board on ship of a new story for yet another little journey during Almedalen 2021. And we are broadcasting from our Stockholm studio, House of Stories. And this session today that we do now is on the importance of storytelling for social change and healing. And with me in my studio, my name is Nick D, and on my side here is Bo Yes.
Hello. Well, thank you for coming.
Thank you. So we're going to spend about 35 minutes together with you to check in a little bit about the need of healing story or social change, and what is a healing story in a kind of post-pandemic setting. Is there a greater need now than before, and what can one do from a more personal healing point? We're going to touch grounds on triangle drama, not what we usually mean with triangle drama, so I'm a bit curious on that one. Yeah. We also read quite a lot about facts and statistics on how next up and coming generation are fighting mental difficulties or are experiencing a lot of social mental distress, I would say, of different kinds. And how can you build resilience for our young next generation, and can we use story or tools thereof towards that? So, Bo, you are a filmmaker. Could we just start with a short introduction of who are you?
Well, my home is in Gothenburg, and I work as a teacher in film and produce also different types of film. I've been doing this for 40 years around, and I've been in long short films, feature films, commercial films, educational film, 3D films. I've been doing that some in the latest months, working with 360 videos, and also I've been doing sound productions in different areas and music productions. That is around what I have done.
Okay, thank you. And me being here facilitating this today, I'm also working as a storyteller, working a lot on healing stories for children and young in particular, but also developing a lot of different tools and processes that work with these kind of subjects. So today's theme is the little sort of summary is that we need new narratives that connect with people's deepest motivations and promote more radical action, as well as healing care for self and others, including our planet. So if we want to transform society, we must learn to tell and listen to a new set of stories about the world we want to create. So question is, that's not an easy question, or is it?
Definitely not an easy question. How do we affect the world? It's a very interesting thing, but actually when I started out with film, and also before that I was in a rock band, I wanted to change the world. Wasn't that easy, and then I thought maybe film and storytelling is a better way, and that was my aim. And well, maybe if you are Steven Spielberg or some very famous director and you have millions of viewers, perhaps you can change, or you can give an experience. It's very hard to really change a person with just one story, but many stories actually changes. And then I thought back about myself. What stories have changed me? Because I really believed in the power of storytelling. But then I have to, for honesty, ask myself, what stories have changed me? And then I can just actually tell a few stories that really did an impact. But did it really make me change my mind? Did it make me do new decisions in life? No, but it changed my thinking, and the thinking later perhaps made choices. So it's a slow process, But it's actually the stories that changes you, because arguments is not always what comes to your heart. The facts is important, but you cannot receive the facts if it not tells in a context where you see the feeling and the need of the change. What do you think?
Well, I'm just when I'm thinking, I got a few ideas here. When we talk about social change, for instance, I mean, we can have different kind of social change, and as we're on this boat today, Ship of a New Story, we're looking at a social change, changing from how can we be best in the world, rather becoming best for the world. So when we talk about making social change in society, how can we create stories that enables participation, inclusion, and responsibility, not the least, for the local, regional, and global setting, and within the stories that we do tell. It's to decide what today is truth is not always maybe easy. We get a lot of info out there about different kinds of truth of where we're at as a humanity, where we're at on a ecological setting, lifespan of a planet, what is that, or will the planet just shake us off and say, okay, if humanity doesn't behave, then okay, let's get rid of humanity. But we would not be so happy about that, maybe.
That would be an easy solution, but not that good, of course.
So there is this short story about when truth comes to visit. And the naked truth is not always so easy to catch up. So naked truth come to this little village, and it's a she, and she's dressed in nothing. And she knocks on the different doors, but nobody wants to let her in. It's a little bit too embarrassing, and they can't really sort of meet up to the naked truth. So at the end, she sits down in the center of the village, and she's so sad because nobody wants to take her in. And then she sees this guy coming in there, and he's dressed in this magnificent coat, and he knocks on the doors, and everybody lets him in, and they all love him, they all know him, and eventually he actually sees her in the square, and he goes to sit down there, and she says, well, why, hey, who are you? And I've been knocking all these doors, but nobody will let me in. And he says, well, my name is Story. What's your name? Oh, my name is The Naked Truth. Oh, okay. Oh, I see. But you, hey, come with me and actually wear my cloak, and we'll go and knock on a few doors. And when the naked truth, dressed in Story, knocked upon the door, she was welcomed in. So
that's an interesting story. I have a similar that is on the same theme, or story. Do you know actually a preacher and an actor have the same profession? Did you know that? But there is a difference.
Okay.
The preacher, the actor, speaks of something that is fictional and all made up, and people will believe it as truth. But the preacher is speaking about a lot of things that is true, but the people think it's fiction. And it's a way of telling the story that is actually the difference. The skill of telling the truth may be the difference. And of course, today there are also good preachers that have adapted that, but many times you can find more skills in the actor talking about things, and it reaches the heart. And unfortunately, maybe not the preacher always touches the heart.
Yeah, true. But it still brings back the focus on story. Basically, today, really, I'm me working as a storyteller. Maybe I'm biased, but I often hear, is there anything but story? Because most of the things we have is connected to story, and we look into the corporate world. We no longer sell like products. We sell a story that goes with the product, etc. So what's the story? And often was interested when I'm working with different processes is also to find the story behind the story. We were initially talking a little bit. We were mentioning the fact that since we were about to talk on social change and healing, that the younger generation is challenged in many ways, addressing many of the issues that we have today. On a global scale, we are bombarded with media of all these challenges which we kind of put on their shoulders. And you've been working on something called the inner compass, or in particular focusing on young and children, and how one can sort of connect and the challenges that there are. I wanted to show a little short film clip on this because there's some interesting facts here. These facts may not be completely updated, but
how old are they?
I think this is like
a couple of years.
Yeah. This film,
well, it probably haven't changed that much. Maybe has increased the social problems. Has not, in Sweden at least, not been fewer, and not rather more. That's my opinion, anyhow.
I've taken part in many national conferences now, which in public sector, regionally, locally, is focusing what can we do with the issue of the challenges here on mental health among young and existential health. What can we do with that? And could school be an arena, a platform for addressing these issues? Because otherwise, where do you do that? Where is this platform meeting place for talking about existential health and stories that can build resilience? But before I keep talking on that, let's see this trailer of one of the initiatives that you've been working with. Okay, here we go.
13.5 billion euros each year. More than every other teenage girl and every third teenage boy has psychosomatic disorders. Many of them are feeling flawed with little hope for the future. So what if I told you that now there is the passion and drive of creating a new GPS-based adventurous treasure hunt, which can make children and youth move and stand up again on the inside? It's called the Inner Compass, and the reach for change here is turning psychosomatic disorders and self-destructive behaviors into well-being and heart-centered awareness. This is a fun, interactive way of asking, who am I and who will I be? Who are you and what could we become? Essentially, the purpose of the Inner Compass is to build resilience by making people go outside in order to find treasures within, including their own unique potential. The participants are provided with challenges and creative tools that help them achieve goals, build trust, and bridges across divides in the neighborhood, where the main question of the mission is, what can I or we do to make our place on Earth a better place to live in? How wonderful is that? If you like the idea of this amazing app and digital platform, you can help by investing in this project and the happiness of a child, saving lives and costs, and support the process by believing in this great conception and that but one voice can make a difference. Join that voice and let's walk the talk together. And hey, Sweden's but a tiny country and only the beginning. It's a small world after all.
Okay, well, thank you.
Well,
so the Inner Compass is one initiative to try to grasp and work with this issue.
So how would this Inner Compass actually work? What's the idea?
Well, the idea with the Inner Compass would be both to find a tool, a fun tool like mentioned here, a treasure hunt on finding your own unique potential and what are the little stories that can help you along that journey, and also within the Inner Compass tracking back, are there any things I need to deal with on my past? Are there any fears to deal with towards the future? Because if I live with fears, then it's better if I can try to deal with them so I can be fully present in the here and now without being interfered with history or future. And then within that, having some stories to guide me along that road. That's a very short version of that, but it's just one example of how one could use story for social change and
so
healing.
It's a kind of a tool so you can help yourself, because we all know that it's overloaded in the health care for children with psychological disorders book, for example. It's a long line, and it's not the resources in the health care in Sweden sector is not enough. So there would be it would be fantastic if it was possible to have an app that kids and youth and are used to use, and it's going to be a gamification in some way.
Well, I think as always, it's finding, when we look at a story and sharing of a story, we need to reach the audience and find where are they at, and how do we make them included, feel included, and sharing their own stories in this. And of course, in this context, we're really targeting tweenies, 10 to 12-year-olds. Most of them today do have a phone, and an app could do this. Of course, one can see what are the different technical solutions for reaching out to a target group. And I believe you were saying there were a lot of cues for healing processes. I would really like to encourage all of you who have anything to say, the movers and shakers, the policy makers here, to also support more the preventative work. And this is actually happening also now. I can see that in the public sector, because the other side can't cope. So how can we work more preventative, and who can do that work? From a parental side, from the educational side, from an app which is kind of a civic sector initiative, maybe, to deal with these matters before they get too harsh.
And it's also a thing, my experience, since I'm a teacher, have been that not so many of teenagers trust grown-ups if they have teenager problems, so to say. And much of the psychosocial disorders is about being good enough, being beautiful enough, and the value, to feel the natural value. And also with conflicts, they maybe have a hard time dealing with conflicts, and that also is a very important part of being to feel good, to deal with conflicts. And that gives us to come on triangle drama.
So triangle drama, there's only two of us here now, so I mean, triangle drama to me doesn't really connect to resolution. Yeah. So what is triangle drama?
You asking me?
Yeah.
Well, we do have a film, a clip we should show, but in brief, it's the expression triangle drama is something that is a film expression, of course. Is often there are, for example, two men that have one woman, and there going to be a drama between three persons that they going to be somehow associated with one of them and enemy with the other one. That's the classical triangle drama. But since we are working with that, it also is a possibility to actually use three persons as also a way of försonas, to reconcile, because there is also a possibility, instead of the third part being the conflict giver, could be the third eye that also gives the outside view that could reconcile the two parties.
Okay, so let's have a look. So triangle drama is a narrative tool to deal with conflict resolutions, knowing that most conflicts are with somebody who is often very close. It's a friend, family, neighbors, student, another student, etc. And often we can't change somebody else, but we can change ourselves. So with that, and I have my side of the story, and that means there's always another second side, the other side of the story. What if we can then focus in on the third side of the story? So let's have a look at this clip, which is explaining a little bit of triangle drama as a tool for conflict resolution.
We can add also that this is partly recorded in Almedalen a couple of years ago. Was it 2 years ago?
I think it's 2 years ago. So
where
part
we
of
tried the concept.
Reconnecting to Almedalen and 2019, and just to remind those of you here, we're sending live now from Stockholm studio, Chip of a New Story, Almedalen 2021, and the theme is the importance of storytelling for social change and healing. And here's one example. It's a quite longish film clip here, 6-7 minutes on triangle drama, so we'll see if we do all it, but please stay with us. Here's an example.
Triangle drama.
Now, what on earth is triangle drama?
Well. Triangle drama is very simple to explain because it's in a workshop and I made beautiful slides. They have animation, nice colors, so that's actually...
I'm sorry, but it's me who has prepared an amazing theater piece for tonight, and it's me who's going to present it.
Well, that's your side of the story, but I think mine is more important.
I'm sorry, I also have my side of the story. It is as important as yours, or even much more important.
Thank you. Potentially, I could have the solution, a third side of the story. How about if we add both of your sides to the story? Could that be a third side of the story?
He's got a point.
Triangle drama is about finding potential solutions to challenges and dilemmas in our daily life. In triangle drama, we use a trust-building dialogue for playing, learning and listening. We form good three-party conversations to find solutions to challenges in our everyday life using role-play and swapping seats. Triangle drama aims to tackle challenges and dealing with conflicts between individuals in a creative and fun way using theatre and film.
Can we have a party at your house?
Yeah, you have a fat house for partying.
Well, you know, I don't think Mom and Dad are going to like it.
Come on, you can do it.
Life is a feast and you're the beast.
The purpose of the method is to share challenges we face in our daily life and seek solutions. It's about the past, practicing empathy and preparing the participants on how to deal with or act in real conflict situations in the future. To better understand both my own perspective on the matter as well as the other side of the story and hopefully find a joint third way that both parties can relate and agree to.
I can't change somebody else.
But I can change myself.
And when I do, others can follow my example.
Welcome to Triangle Drama.
All this said, remembering that I can't change somebody else, so what can I do differently to change the challenge I find myself in? In practice, form groups of 3 people and sit in a triangle. Each one tell a story of a real dilemma. Then choose the story you want to dramatize, the one that seems most fun and apt for dramatization. Also agree upon how you want to present this to another group. Now, 2 groups of 3 people meet and take turns to present their drama. Then
Jaha, det blev lite digitalt. Well, sorry. There were some
we
glitch.
had some technical hiccups there, so we lost connection there for a while. So if you're still with us or connecting back again, we're sharing a tool called Triangle Drama on how you can rate with conflict resolution using story, and using story for looking at what can I do to change a situation, knowing that you can't change somebody else, but I can change my way, my story, my action in this scenario to make a difference, to make a social change, personal change of one.
And also by dramatization, put yourself in your opponent view and try to see the way he or she sees this, even if you don't agree with it. So it's a good training just to act as you were the third eye also, or the other person, and also you have a third eye that also can give suggestions on resolving the issues.
And this is something that has been tested in different settings within different cultures. We've been doing this on international conferences in Switzerland, among other places, where you can see that people from completely different background still can relate in working with such a tool. Because of course, personal conflicts we have regardless where we are, but interesting to see that the narrative tool here has really worked in all these contexts. So this is just one example on a tool where one can create social change in little sort of settings, but if there are many enough of those, and then little by little we can change a lot. Peer-to-peer and share different instruments of how to deal with telling the new story, because the new story has to be retold, reinvented to face new challenges. I find as a storyteller that the many of the good stories, the old classical stories, the Greek stories and other stories, they include all these interpersonal, the conflicts, the relationship between people, and that hasn't changed. What has changed though is the way for me to reach out with these stories to my listeners, to my audience. As a storyteller, I would have my village, I would have my clan, whatever that would be, my setting. Today we have a virtual reality. So my role as a storyteller, or my challenge, is rather to say, how do I reach out to those who are around today, and how do I not only reach out but reach inside.
Yeah.
Right. So we're running close to wrap up here of this session, but I also wanted to touch grounds a little bit about, since we're talking about healing, social change, existential health is also something that I find is something where we can really work with story for the well-being of many, and in particular, since that's my specific interest, with children and youth. The World Health Organization has defined existential health.
How?
Well, they've been sort of kind of trying to nail the focus as it come down to 8 specific things that is worthwhile to keep existential health alive and help people to work with that. And there's an old word for that which I really like, because when we often talk about how do we become happy, but do we really want to be happy all the time? And if we were, would we realize that we were happy? Because or would we get bored by being happy, because that would be like everyday life being the same? So there's this expression,
same as would we like to every day to be summer or spring? Is it necessary with the autumn and the winter to really appreciate?
So do we like the 4 seasons? That's the question, yeah. So Aristotle and Socrates, they were using this word called eudaimonia. Eudaimonia is not absence of pain, being in constant bliss and happiness. It's rather being content with the situation you are in, and a situation where you are unable to fulfill whatever mission, destination or destiny you felt that you had. How can you fulfill yourself with whatever you want to do and be the best of your unique potential? And I find that to me is really encouraging when we talk about how can we be best for the world, not best in the world. How can we rather be content than striving for a constant happiness, because that is not life. Life has its ups and downs, but we need to sort of find ways and tools on how we can deal with those challenges when they hit us, and they will sooner or later in one way or another, and stay afloat with that. So there are actually, and that's worthwhile noting, that if you're based in Sweden right now, SKR, Sveriges kommuner och regioner, they are working with something called a kraftsamling for psycho-social health, and really pinpointing different tools to support work with young people and any age, I would say, and looking in at the existential health. How can we find a platform for that, reaching out? And some of that is definitely based on story. So I would really encourage, if you have any other ideas on how to continue working with storytelling for social change and healing, please put something here in the chat on YouTube, any links, any ideas, and we will come back to this story. I'm sorry about the little hiccup we had technically here today, but rest assured we are coming back and we keep working on this question, and hope that you will join us on this boat as part of the ship of a new story. Well, Bo, any final sort of words, thoughts as a checkout before we close this session for now?
Well, the story of our life continues, and there is always new stories coming up, and I think you just keep on sharing them all you possibly can, and it's healthy for yourself, and maybe you meet people out there that really appreciate this and can identify. That's all.
Okay, thank you. And I do welcome you back about 4 o'clock. We will have another session on ways and tools to deal with healing story. That will be in Swedish though, but then we'll also have sound performance artist Rena Johnson joining us here in the studio, and we will do some narratives. We're going to tell some stories, and we're going to talk more on this subject. So thank you for staying with us, and sail along, ship ahoy. Bye bye.